It looks like we've got Black Widow next. So here's our Black Widow frame, ready to go. I'm going to do a quick review of the instructions. It's always good to look over the instructions first. Just make sure you know where you're going with it. All right, so it looks like in classic fashion, we're going to start with the torso, and that's going to be part 1 and part 2. So part 1, part 2. So I'm going to start by clipping those out. I'm going to use my trusty hobby clippers. Again, I'm going to make sure that my clippers remain flush to the part. So you have this little indent here. You want to clip from this side. You want to make sure that's flush to the piece. So we're just going to do some quick clips. Clip here. Clip here. And we're going to set the frame to the side. And we're going to continue to work on this part. So we're just going to do a little bit of cleanup on those points that we just clipped. Smooth them out nice. Let's do a little bit of scraping here. Really nice. Again, when you scrape, you just want to do really gentle pressure. Just to make sure that you're getting all those pieces off. That's left. Come up. And it's just an upward, like if you're taking off big chunks, you always want to make sure you're starting down and you're scraping up. So it's like a half moon motion. You never want to come in and push in, because that'll go into the actual part. And it's really hard to kind of go the other way. I mean, maybe there are people who do it, but just start here and then just scrape up. So it's just a very gentle scrape. And then you can also just, like we talked about, you can drag to clean off any mold line that you might see. Use the backside of the blade if you want to get a little more pressure. Maybe a part's a little deeper, but you don't want to cut parts. The backside of the blade will scrape those mold lines without taking off detail too. All right, that's great. Looks like she's ready to go. So we're just going to check our fit. We're going to dry fit it really quick before we commit, so we know what we're doing. All right, we got a good idea of that. Let's go to our toothpick and glue. Again, I'm just going to kind of do my best to get a thin layer of glue all over the edges. Come back, and I'm just going to give it a firm press and let that glue set. I'm going to check it from the other side to make sure that we're all set over there. Check it from the top, just to check to make sure that nothing's pulling away. We're going to push nice and firm. We'll set that aside for the moment. Move on to step 2. So step 2 tells me that I'm going to put on one of the legs. And this looks like it is going to be part number 8. So part 8 is going to be this leg right here. This is the left leg, right leg. This is the right leg. My left, her right. Stage left. All right. Just going to clip. We're going to clip. Set aside our parts, since we're only worried about this right now. Now, even though nobody's going to see the keys, you still want to make sure and take your time to clip off any excess material, because if you leave extra on, the key might not fit. And so you really want to just take your time. You don't have to be careful about it. And if you take a little bit too much material off a key, that's actually better than leaving too much on. It just means the key might not be as tight. But the fact of the matter is the key is only there as a guide. It's not required for the part to fit. And that's specifically when you're talking about the male key. Now on the female key, or the little port, you definitely want to be careful, because if you take too much out of a female key, you might wind up taking out detail. So like you take out her thigh or something like that, you don't want to do that. All right, do our quick dry fit. Just going to check this piece really quick. I might do a little bit of scraping on the back. See a little bit of a mold line there that I want to get rid of. A little bit right here. That looks really good. grab my glue. Put it on like that. And I'm just gonna put in and press. Give it some firm pressure. About 10 seconds, we'll call that good. I'm gonna set that to the side. All right, step 3 is going to be building the straight arm. So that's going to be part 10, which is right here. And it's going to be part number 6. And we have 2 6s. So just in case we lose one, we've got a spare, which is great. Clip, clip, let that fall on the table. We'll come in. I'm going to take this part 6. I like this part 6. I think that's the part 6 we want to use. All right, I'm just going to do a quick little scrape. Just a quick little scrape. There we go. Great. All right. Take that key, get it trimmed down. There we go. All right. And then, according to our directions, we're just going to put this hand part on top. We're going to complete that widow's kiss on her wrist. So, I'm going to grab the fresh side of my toothpick here, because that other side's getting grody. Rub a little bit of glue in there. Come in, press down. Ooh, check the other side. Press. All right. Okay. I'm going to set this to the side. Looking at step 4, I'm going to attach that arm that I just built, and I'm going to attach her hip holster, carrying her trusty sidearm. All right, clip that out. Do some quick cleaning on this. I'll scrape that. Another point was, it was on the butt of the gun. All right, so that part's ready. We'll just come back over here, grab a little bit of glue. And the pistol goes right here. Slot on her waist, or on her thigh. Okay, so I'll put the pistol in first just because that way the arm won't be in my way. I think this will be slightly easier. Not that I think it would be really hard with the arm, because they don't really intersect, but. All right, and I just want to make sure, get a nice firm press and make sure that that arm's lined up nice and tight to the body. Here we go. Great. There we go. Step 4 complete. Set that off and let it dry. Step 5. So for this, I'm going to need part 5 and I'm going to need part 7. So we're going to make her other arm. So I'm just going to come in, clip, clip, clip. All right, here we go. So we're just gonna take our knife, do a little bit of cleanup. That's great. Come on over here. Do a little bit of cleanup off of that key to make sure that we get a nice snug fit. Come over here, do Do a nice little bit of cleanup. Perfect. Again, there are two options to approach this. The first one is to follow the instructions and simply put the full arm together before attaching it to the body, like that. Alternatively, if you find this to be a little tricky, which some people do, and I think this is just more of a personal preference thing, you can take the upper arm and attach it to the body first, and then come in and attach the arm. And then what that'll do is it gives you this nice big torso to grab onto. And it makes it a little easier than potentially having to do the two smaller parts. Now my preference is I like doing arms this way. It just works for me, but you always have that option. It's not going to mess up the final build. It's not going to do anything crazy. So it's whatever works best for you. And the big thing is just making sure that you're following the instructions so that you're getting the right parts in the right places. But the order of operations, especially when it comes to these multi-part arms, is really up to whatever works best for you. So I'm going to let that arm dry because I also have to clip out her other leg. Because in this step 6, I'm going to be putting on her other leg and I'm going to be putting on her head. So we're going to clip out parts 3, which is her head, and part 8, 9, part 9. There we go. It's like, that can't be right. We don't have a 90 part. All right. So that, we'll clip out the head. Again, just being really careful to clip flush. Just do a little bit of cleaning here. There we go. Just a little scraping. I'm going to use the back edge of the blade a little bit so I can get around the top of the head without damaging the hair detail. I'm just scraping down the excess material from the injection port and a little bit of a mold line on that side. Most of that's going to get hidden by the hair though. There we go. Great. Take a look at this really quick. I just want to make sure that key is not got any excess material on, because again, we want it to fit snug, nice and snug into the female spot for it, into the neck. Take that off so she'll stand nice and neat. Go after this really quick. There we go. Use our fingernail to take that off. I'm just going to do a quick little run. Make sure that there's no extra mold line there. All right, so we've got a leg, we've got a head, and we've got an arm, and then we'll have a completed Black Widow. Grab a bit more glue because my glue is drying out and getting used up. I'm gonna grab a new toothpick too because he's starting to spider web on me. Start with the leg. I'm just going to put some glue around it. Remember, don't use too much. You don't want it like gushing out or anything like that. You just want to use just enough. Give it a good press. That's great. Pull this. Do the arm next. Dot some in there. And again, one of the things you can do too is if you just get glue on the exterior, you can always trust that as you push the part in, it'll spread that glue for you. Awesome. Then I'm just going to put some glue right here. I'm going to take the head, line up the key, Key's going to tell me exactly where that head needs to go, that she's pointing down her next foe. Had a little bit of schmutz there. There we go. Black Widow, ready for her base. So, I'm just going to take a look, and I think we're going to pick this base for her. So we're just going to give it a little snip. Clean off the edge a little bit. And we're just going to do that by scraping, so that we get a nice smooth edge so it looks nice when we paint it. There we go. Whoop. I'm just going to take a second, kind of decide how I want her to be placed. I think I want her like that. So, grab a little bit of our glue. Like so. Like so. And there we go. Ooh, we got a little bit of we got a little hanger on her. Static electricity. There we go. So there we go. Completed Black Widow.